With mathematics on his side and the withdrawal from the series of Thiago Canola, David Yunt is the 1973 British F3 champion for HSO, but we still have 4 more races to run, 2 of which are this evening, and we come to you live from Paul Ricard. Cars are out on the circuit right now preparing for the race, doing their last qualifying laps, I believe. And I'm joined in the booth by, I believe, Alberto Ibaňez and Juha Boss. Gentlemen, good evening.
Good evening, Jason.
Good evening, everybody.
So as I mentioned in the intro, we have basically one part of our discussion this evening solved for us. In the points championship, mathematically speaking, David Yunt is the champion. This would have been a foregone conclusion for most people since Thiago had withdrawn from the series, but there was the unlikely possibility that he might decide to rejoin it. But mathematically now we can say for certain that David is the champion. His performance, gentlemen, has been lights out the entire time, and it does beg the question, and perhaps the two of you could give informed answers on this subject. Sorry, suddenly it sounds like Crossfire or some political show. Basically, this is a series that more or less, the engines are slightly different here and there. Some are a little more powerful than others, but really there's pretty much a lot of parity in this mod, I would think. And the same would hold true for the other mod that we did that was obviously a spec series this year, the BMW series. I mean, you'd think that these would promote more even competition, and yet it was a walkover by David in this championship, and in the other championship I just mentioned, Grant was a clear favorite throughout. How do you account for this in series like these?
I think it's a matter of a car that particularly suits the driver. Because if you remember at the beginning of the season, we had Richard Coxon in the other Alpine. And, well, obviously, Coxon is also one of the quickest drivers around. He certainly isn't any slower than David Junt, and yet he wasn't able to outperform Junt. So I believe that it's really a question of David having found the sweet spot for the Alpine. That's the basic reason, because the Alpine doesn't certainly have the most powerful engine, and some horsepower counts a lot here in these underpowered cars. And it's good. It's a good balanced chassis and a nice car to drive, and it's quick, but it also has a personality. So I know that some people have tried it offline, compared with the car that they are using in the championship, and they certainly weren't any quicker with it. So like I said, I think it's just the perfect combination. One of those things that it was a lucky strike for David Junt.
Juha?
I agree with what Alberto says. Cars are really close. There's not much between. So it really is past the driver, and if he gets along with it, and if you don't, well, turn it further back. Let's see that.
All right, well, we did show the points very quickly. Let's go back just to reiterate the situation. David Yunt currently with 190, and the little cup next to his name indicates he's the champion, or next to the numbers. Thiago Canola, 85 points. Grant Ridal, 81. So really, the battle that remains is to see if Grant can elevate himself to second. His father, Ray Ridal, is in fourth with 58 points, and Austin Johnson, even though he left the series long ago, is still in fifth with 48 points. The track itself, this is Paul Ricard, the short circuit. I'm here all week. Try the veal. 1.880 miles long, or 3.025 kilometers. And we're going to be doing 2 races this evening, both 30 laps apiece. And those distances round out to about 56.4 miles. Everyone's more familiar with the version of the circuit that uses the full, long Mistral straight. What can we expect from a circuit like this today?
It's a track that has still has somehow long straight, at least long in the terms of these cars that are so underpowered. But it has many S's. This is a track where shifting weight from one to the other side is paramount. Agile car to be able to do the S's and the twisty section in this track. He obviously who has the best setup and the best driving, but also you need a compromise, because to overtake in these cars you will need to be quick enough on the short straight, because otherwise in the S's is simply too tight. And Paul Ricard, I believe, is one of those tracks that has lots of personality. And in the 70s it produced great racing for the Formula One. It's, for personally, I think, a pity that they went to Magny-Cours later, because that's a quicker track, but I don't think it's as great as this one. Anyways, like I said, it's a matter of being able in the twisty section to hold on or to gain there an advantage, depending on how you set up the car, because later you come to the straight and there's where the overtaking must happen. So
Okay, so we're riding on board now with Juha, and we'll get a full lap here of the Paul Ricard short course. You can see the cones on the left indicating shutoff markers. He drifts to the right, sort of a double apex for the first corner, swings back to the left, and now back to the right, joining the Mistral straight for the last portion of it, getting up onto the curb there. And now, this is probably the fastest part of the course for these cars.
yeah, exactly. This is the place where those who have a low wing will have a small advantage to overtake. But we come very quickly again to a twisty section.
So here's the Sing bend, and Juha's having to lift a tiny bit there. And now we come to a double apex, starting with Bousse, which is a semicircle. And here's that second portion that tightens up. And then there's a little kind of a right-left kink here, which can sometimes play havoc with bigger cars. This is left-hander all the way to the back. Now we go through this kind of spoon-shaped section, drifting to the right the entire time. You can see the pits ahead on the left-hand side. Left-hander Latour, and then the last corner of the circuit, Pont. Right-hander.
Yes, as you can see, the cars are continuously going from side to side and very quickly shifting weight. So it's very hard to overtake here. I mean, you don't really have the place to gain an advantage. If you are behind someone in the twisty section, unless there is a very big speed differential, it is very likely that you will get out of it again in the same position. So the place to overtake is here, in this long straight where Juha is entering right now. And right here is where we will... It will be very important, the exit of the last corner, because that will give you momentum for the straights.
Juha's line into the fast bend at the end of the straight is interesting to me. Well, he was able to keep his foot on the floor a little more that time. And then you progressively start to downshift and lose speed as you come through this section. All right, well, while we are waiting for the warm-up to conclude, let's take a look at what's coming up in the next few races at HSO. This coming Wednesday, the touring cars go back into action. The International Adiatsi Alpen Trophée, or whatever the heck that is. That is round 6 of 8, 2 races at the Salzburg Ring, which is an interesting course. Very quick. Looks like a rubber band kind of laid out on a table. That'll be Wednesday, November 20th at 2000 hours CET. And then the following Sunday, we have the second to last round of the IndyCar Series. This is the Champion Sparkplug 300K. Someone's trying to get my attention, and I can't see it. Is that you, Alberto?
Yes, was typing you some info.
Oh, well, I think my info bar is missing for some reason. So, in any case, so this is the 14 of 15 rounds at Laguna Seca. And this should be a fun race no matter what happens, because it's a track that these cars absolutely shine on. And that is Sunday, November 24th at 2000 CET. So the cameras we have for this race will be interesting too, because we have several that are kind of long shot cameras, like the one that I was just we were just looking at a second ago. And then there are others that are more tight. So we'll have opportunities to see the full field from a telephoto lens a couple of times. So that ought to provide us some unique views of this race. So about 4 minutes to go in practice, or I'm sorry, in warm-up, and you can see there's that first corner comes up very quickly, quicker than you might expect. It's not a simple right-hand turn. It kind of splits off to the right and then tightens. And we welcome Barry Lynn and Angel May, who are on the chat and YouTube. Hello to both of you.
Hello, ladies. Do you have your pick for the race already?
You'll have to tell us via the chat.
I guess one of them already has, but...
Well, we know what who Angel May's pick is for the race. That's a natural. So 2 minutes to go now. What do you expect from this race, Alberto?
Considering Grant's time in qualifying, I would say that he has a pretty nice rhythm. But we have seen that he has not been very regular. And then with David Junt and his mojo with Alpine, you can always say that he will be there near the top. Though being a bit maybe comfortable already with the championship in the back, who knows? He might not risk it. And I should say that this is likely not the best track for the Alpine, because even if it's very agile, it might lack a bit of top speed. And if someone gets in front of you, as we have commented, it's going to be very difficult to later overtake and get your position back. My pick for the race would be, in principle, Grant.
Well, one other thing I would point out about this track is if there are any off-course excursions, which I'm thinking there probably will be. Oh, there you see, because yeah, there's something that can happen when you run low wing. There's a lot of sand offline, so if people do have high-speed off-course excursions, there is a chance for recovery. Not a very huge one. Here comes Juha once again. So 47 seconds now until we take to the grid. I'll be interested to see how this race plays out, because it is a compromise. You know, you want to get really quick down the straight, but at the same time, you want to be able to get through the twisty bits well. So you have to choose between being loose in the twisty portions of the track or slow on the straight, or fast on this, or you know what I'm getting at.
Yes, and it's very likely because cars have obviously their strengths. There are cars that are quicker in the straights by nature because they have a more powerful engine or a more aerodynamic body, and cars like the Alpine that are more agile in the twisty sections. So here's the big problem that the drivers have. They have to set up the car exactly for the opposite of what the car can do. I mean, if you have the Alpine, then you must rely on the ability of it to corner quickly and then set low wings so that you can later have more ability to stay in front in the straight. And conversely, if you have a car that has quick top speed, the natural thing would be to add more wing to it so that you can defend yourself in the twisty sections.
All right, so we're going to go to the race session in a minute here. There we go, 30 laps.
We're apparently missing Cesarius.
I don't know, he's on my screen.
No,
Oh,
Honza,
Honza,
I
sorry.
think.
I meant Honza.
Honza, yes.
So are we going to
Apologies.
restart the warm-up?
But he has not posted in the forum.
No, and when did he leave? Oh, I suppose we could give him 2 or 3 minutes.
It's your call, you're the admin.
Oh,
Yeah, 5 minutes, and then we go. I've posted a message for him in the forum.
yes.
Nothing else we can do.
Well, you better, There we go. Okay. Well, seeing as we have a bit of a lull in the proceedings, we'll take a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back after these important commercial messages.
You know me. I'm the Griffin on all the Vauxhalls, the beautiful Vauxhalls. Like this new limited edition Ventura, the VIP for very important people like me. This special Victor, loaded with practical things for practical people like me. It's going to be a beautiful summer. Beavers will abound. Estates will bloom like flowers. And it's all going to happen at your Vauxhall dealers. Visit him, you really must. Have a beautiful summer in a beautiful Vauxhall.
If you open the door of this big new 1973 car, you won't find anything really new. You'll find big contoured bucket seats, but that's not new. You'll find a big padded sculptured dash, a sporty steering wheel, but you've seen all this before. And every big car comes with a big curved windshield these days. It gives you a great view of the world, but it's not new. Plenty of legroom, nice but not new. And there's nothing new about finding all these big things under one big roof. What is new is finding all these big things under one little roof. Introducing the 73 Super Beetle. It's so completely changed and comfortable inside, you won't know it's a Volkswagen until you're outside.
And we're back. So we're still waiting on Hansa, correct?
We should be moving to the next session in a moment. There's no signs at all of Honza, and it wouldn't surprise me if there has been some kind of power outage or unexpected pizza crash for him.
Oh no, a power outage?
Yeah. Whatever the case, it doesn't seem to allow him to even post in the forum, so...
All right, well, we'll let you guys pull the switch whenever you want.
I'll pull the switch in as soon as the clock hits 37, which is in 5 seconds.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, so the grid's being set, and we will
Yes.
be racing in a moment.
All right, so going to the race session now. 30 laps of the Paul Ricard short course. And that is Grant Riddall, our pole sitter. I'll run through the grid as soon as the cars start rolling. 17 cars in this race. So a little less than what we're used to seeing, but should still be a good contest, this one and the next one.
It's a 4-wide grid, something you don't see nowadays.
Oh, that's right, yeah. Not how to make for an interesting start.
3-wide. I mean, the usual 3-2, 3-2, but it obviously gives that staggered formation allows for a much better getaway of the cars if the car in front is stuck or doesn't have a good launch on the green. Let's go.
That's true, yeah. All right, so here we go. On the pole for this first race at Paul Ricard, Grant Riddall, Brian Henton Racing. Second, David Yunt, the series champion in the first of the Alpines. Third, Ray Riddall in a March. Fourth, David Saber. David Saber. I can say David normally when I talk about him. In the Chris Andrews March. Fifth, Alberto Aguino, Société d'Automobile Alpine. Sixth, Cesarius Lipinski in another March. Seventh, Michael Griffiths. Eighth, Dave Miller. Ninth, Adam Hackman. 10th, Juha Boss. 11th, Gerard Rion. 12th, Jason Whitehead. 13th, Gilles Lalonde. 14th, Victor Alsaker. 15th, Mick Chapman. 16th, Mato Small. And rounding out the field, Bruno Chacon. I don't believe I saw Janik in that list, which is too bad because he's fun to watch in these cars. So they're coming now around through the east end of the course and will eventually end up back at Pont and turn right. You can see the white building in the background there. That's the pits complex. So in a very short few minutes we will be racing. And I guess with the championship no longer on the line, it certainly simplifies things for these drivers. They're racing for the win and the win itself, and that's it. So the gloves can really come off.
It will be
All right.
interesting to see if people have tried a setup that, like I said, compensates the car shortcomings, or if they have done the opposite and tried to exploit to maximum whatever ability the car has.
All right, so you can see the 3-2-3 layout now as Grant Riddall on your left in number 23. In the middle is David Yunt, and on the right-hand side we have Ray Riddall. So we're waiting for the starters' orders now. And you see a flicker in the lap count. It'll indicate starters' orders have been given. I think we're just waiting for one car to get into grid position. No revs yet. Looks like we might be missing a car still. Okay, starters' orders now, I believe. And the race is underway! Great getaway by David Yunt. Look at that. And actually, excellent getaway by Ray Riddall as well. He goes up to second place. Grant Riddall slips down to third, but it looks like he's going to get the... No, he's back up to second place, gets by Ray Riddall. Some great recovery by Grant. So now they head down the Mistral Straight for the first time, and you can see Little Al is now poking his nose out, trying to get around Ray Riddall. Looks like David Sabre is starting to have a look to come with him, but decides better of it. Yunt leads. Grant Riddall is in second. Ray Riddall is in third. Alberto is in fourth. And that is David Sabre in fifth place. So coming around the
David
back...
certainly didn't want any risk at the start.
No, he did not.
Shot as if launched by a slingshot, and he certainly wanted to put a good amount of real estate between him and Grant Riddall for the Mistral Straight, because it's likely that he was fearing that the slipstream could help Grant get in front of him.
Oh, look at that. Look at that drift that Grant has coming into the second last corner. So here they are, coming off the final turn. Ray in third. You can see how close it is for fifth place. Everybody using that curb, trying to... Oh, goodness, some people taking it a bit too far in the curb. David Yunt continues to lead. Grant is in second.
Oh, an accident. David Sabre has spun when trying to overtake Little Al.
Oh, no!
Little Al had to take evasive action on the sand, but lost several positions, but seems to have recovered now.
Let's take a look at a replay of what happened here. David Sabre on the inside of Little Al as they come in, and oh yeah, he just lost the back end, unfortunately. But fortunately for Little Al, he had that sand that I was talking about. He has enough room there to take evasive action. And David Sabre is now down to sixth place. So despite that spin, it was a nice recovery, and now he's coming up to do battle.
So Little Al has quit?
What?
There's a smoke on the end of the Mistral Straight, black smoke.
Dave Miller has lost his front wing. I'm not sure what that's about. It appears he's had an incident of some kind, and my goodness, yeah, Little Al was involved in something going on back here. Not sure what it was.
Oh my goodness, I just saw the replay. Yes.
So David Miller is going to
him at the end of the straight.
My goodness. So Dave Miller going to the pits for a new nose, so disastrous start for him.
Yeah, he's poor and someone collected him. Well,
that's two. Oh, Gilles Lalonde has spun at the head of the straight. We'll see if he continues on. He's beached the car. Doesn't seem to be moving.
Dave Miller has no front wing at the moment. He's headed for the pits.
Ray Riddall is keeping really good pace with David Yunt at the moment. David's not getting too far out, so maybe your predictions of this track are correct. Maybe this will be an equalizer of sorts. Meanwhile, excellent scrap going on here. David Sabre is sandwiched between two other marches. The first one being of Michael Griffiths and the other one Juha Boss. So Sabre is looking for a way to get by his countryman, Griffiths. Oh man, runs right up onto the curb. I wonder how that affects the anti-cut software in Automobilista, because if people do that enough times, maybe they might be heading for the pits for consultation of sorts.
And Grant has really started to get in the proper pace and is now closing in on David Yunt.
Well, we'll see. I mean, it's the laps will probably tick by pretty quick here. I mean, we're coming up now in 1/6 the distance of sorts, but man, look at Grant. He's really using all of the track with that GRD chassis.
Yeah, that's talent, because I can tell you that those curves will be very unstabilizing. So if he's able to get the car over that, that's just pure and raw talent. Hold
Saber
the
has
car
just
there.
taken 5th from Griffiths.
Oh, yes, he has. And it appears that Griffiths has disappeared from the picture. Not sure what's
Yeah,
going
that
on here.
was,
Oh, my goodness, we've got big trouble here. Contact between Michael Griffiths, Mick Chapman, and it appears another car. Let's take a look at a replay. Yeah, here's David Saber getting by initially Michael Griffiths. And they come into... Yeah, and then Juha... Oh, goodness, there was contact between Juha and Michael Griffiths, and Michael Griffiths spins around, waiting for the proper time to get going, but oh, that was probably not of the smartest decision there. I think it's fair to say that Michael chose the wrong time to rejoin the track. He rejoined in front of 2 oncoming cars, and one of them being Jason Whited, who was very lucky not to get clipped, and Matos Mall ran clear into the back of Griffiths. So a bit of unfortunate situation there. And then Griffiths spins again on his own because he doesn't have a rear wing. And Griffiths is now in the pits affecting repairs. And Matos Mall has also retired from the race, so I'm sure there will be some words exchanged there in the paddock. Not the best of situations. That does take the pressure off of Juha for the moment, but as was mentioned by Alberto, Grant is most definitely closing in on our leader, David Yunt, as they head through the S section at the west end of the course, now onto the Mistral Straight. It definitely appears that Grant is sizing up our series champion.
Many people seem to have quit as a result of that accident, even if they lied. So we have now 12 cars on track. And
Yeah,
the non-finishers so far are Matos Mall, Michael Griffiths. No, he's on repairs. David Miller is not finished. Bruno Chacon and also Letalal.
Oh, that's too bad. So Miller out of the race. The one consolation of these F3 races is that if you have a bad first race, you got another shot at it in a little bit. So hope those gentlemen hang out for a bit and maybe watch the broadcast. We'll get them back on the track for the next one. Grant. Oh no! Grant's spinning! Grant spins out! Manages to get the car right, but he spun in Latour, and he did look like he was very loose in that corner before.
He was pushing it very much.
Yeah,
to
very
be
much.
able to follow David John. And I guess he overheated the tires with all that sliding.
Well, that's going to basically kill his chances for the moment. Meanwhile, Cesarius Lipinski is being stalked by David Saber. And these are the same type of car. There may be a difference in the engine department slightly, but David is definitely closing on Cesarius, who's no slouch. Cesarius is a pole winner a few times in this series, and I'm sure he'd like nothing better than to cap off this series with some more great results before we go away for the holidays. Doesn't look like he's getting much of a toe here on the straight. He's too far back. Looking a little further back, it's oh goodness, there's some interesting action here going on between Victor Alsaker and a blue car. I'm not sure. I think
Mick
it might
Chapman.
be it's Mick
That's
Chapman.
Mick
Chapman
Chapman, yes.
going for the overlap on the outside. That's risky stuff, but he might get it done. As they go into the turn, Alsaker breaks a bit earlier. Yeah, look at that. Mick Chapman able to go around the outside for 10th place, and that's the last points paying position. So yeah, it's there's a bit of pride on the line here as well. And that's an Alpine versus I believe a GRD. Gerard Rion soldiering on in 9th place. Oh no, Jason White had spun out. He was in 8th place. He gets going again. Not sure what happened there, but good to see that he didn't hit anything. but that causes Rion to close in on him, and subsequently Chapman and Victor Alsaker. Hackman.
Yeah, just a note. Victor Alcocer, actually, Alcocer is in a Martini. That's a car
he's
that
in
looks very similar to the Alpine. It's in
Oh,
fact
it's-
very different, very
That's
hard
right,
to tell
it-
the difference. But yeah,
you're
it's
right,
a Martini.
You're right. I apologize. I think it might be the nose that was throwing me there.
Yeah, they are very similar, and it's the same car that Jason Whited is also driving.
All right, so David's. Oh my goodness, David Saber is closing way up on Cesarius now. Maybe an opportunity here for him to pass. This is a battle for 4th place. So they come down to Latour one more time.
Yeah, like I predicted here, this twisty section, unless you make a big error, is hard to overtake. Because you see David's getting very close here, but it's difficult to put the car side by side.
Well, he's definitely chomping at the bit. He wants to get by
Yeah, but Cesarius has a bit more top straight speed.
in that particular car.
Tell that at the end of the straight, and obviously that's the reason why his car is also more loose, because with less wing on the rear, then you obviously don't have as much grip on the rear. But look what happens here. They are coming up to 90 mph, and then Cesarius is like he has another gear, an extra 6th gear, because he's moving away from David Saber here.
He is, despite the toe. David's doing everything he can just to stay with him.
And with a higher wing load, obviously David is closing in now, but he has the problem of the difficulty of overtaking here. But even if you can try to put your car side by side with the other, it's so close by in this twisty section.
Oh,
Look
it looks
at
like
that.
he almost had a foothold there going into to that turn. Now they're drifting back to the right towards Latour one more time.
You need a big error from the car in front in order to be able to put the nose of your car inside and gain the position.
Yeah, so it's basically the same story as they're coming around again.
Yeah, and look at that. By the time they are under the big sign that goes over the yeah, there you go. You see, I mean, they are coming to the corner now, but Cesarius was already opening a gap, and you see that also here in the Mistral Straight where they are coming up now. You see, David is very close here. His high wing allows him to come out of the corner very, very close by. But they are now at 90 mph, and it's as if David's car is hitting a wall of air.
Yeah,
Cesarius always gains some meters here.
Yeah, he's going to require Cesarius to make some kind of a massive mistake. He does seem to handle the better going through there. He does duck to the inside. He might have a chance here. Cesarius gives him room, and for the moment, David Saber is into 4th place. That was excellent. He basically forced his way alongside and took the line away, and I guess he had much better grip through that sweeping turn than Cesarius had, and he's up to 4th place. Great stuff.
It will be interesting to see, though, what happens the next time they come to the Mistral Straight, because David is obviously pushing now because he doesn't want Cesarius to be in his toe. Because in that case, well, the Mistral Straight is going to appear very long for David.
But look
yeah,
at how much
the
gap he's
distance he has
opened up already.
Yeah.
He's opened up a large gap already. We'll see what happens on the Mistral Straight.
Yeah, he was being obviously held up by Cesarius with the different setup.
Yeah, I don't think it's a case of he's going to have to worry for toe
No,
now because he's lost.
Cesarius is probably too far away. But
Grant
had
still-
they been closer together, I can tell you that David would have suffered a lot here, because Cesarius is obviously way quicker in this straight.
David Yunt soldiering on as if he's just out for another Sunday drive. He's got a massive lead on 2nd place, Grant Riddall. 3rd place is his dad, Ray Riddall. And of course, as we already pointed out, 4th is David Saber. We're 1/3 through the race now. Juha
Yeah,
running by.
Grant has already made an attempt at pushing the car and seeing if he could try to get the first position, and get David to make an error, and obviously, since it hasn't worked at all, he's taking things with a more conservative approach. He wants the points for better podium, and he's no longer trying to follow David close by.
Well, Ray is a little ways behind his son Grant, so I guess the question becomes, will Ray be able to close in on him? He's got a ways to go before you can see there how far ahead Grant is and how much further behind David Saber is, so he's in a very lonely third place right now. And things have settled down to some extent now with everybody.
Yes, this is even if it's the short version of the track, it's a rather long one, and these cars are not very powerful, so with only 12 on the track, they are obviously now spreading out a lot.
Well, long for these cars, it's a little under 2 miles, but for cars of this power, I think it's probably a bit long. So we're on lap 12 now, and you can see the last of the cars there. Chapman just disappearing from your picture. Now emerging from under the Marlboro sign is Victor Alcocer.
Alcocer.
Now you're going to make me think about that every time I say it. You should have just let me continue to say it that way.
It's actually, I would guess, I think it's a Spanish family name. That's probably not French.
All right. Okay. All right. What is the correct pronunciation?
If it's Spanish, then it's Alcocer.
Alcocer.
Yeah, something similar.
That's Alcocer. Sounds like a cough medicine.
No, I won't dare to try to say it in French accent because I obviously would not do it correctly.
I don't know what to call your son's name either because
Iquino.
Iquino. Okay, well all right, Iquino, because tell Jonathan, because he calls him a Yuno, whatever that is. All right, so my goodness, not much action right now. Although Grant is certainly pushing really hard. Maybe we should stay with him because he certainly seems to.
I think he set fastest lap on the last.
He just
one
did. Well, and you can see there, Michael Griffiths having returned to the track. He is now technically.
Don't just set fastest lap again.
So Grant's not necessarily giving up on this race. He's pushing very hard, but given the fact that David Yunt makes like 0 mistakes.
David Saber has dropped to 5th.
Uh-oh, what happened?
I think he spun because he's right in front of me now.
All right, here's the replay of what happened. Thank you, Juha, for the alert. David comes through a series of S-bends. Let's ride with him, see what happens here. Yep, it looks like he just lost it coming into Pont. Oh, goodness. He almost drove into Slipinski there. But luckily stopped the car in time, so that would explain why he's down to 5th place. And now he's got Juha Boss in his tow, so this should be interesting. We've got a battle brewing here for 5th place. Juha, do you have any damage from that contact earlier?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay, thanks for that. So, these cars both appear to be in good trim, so we should see a good straight-up fight between 2 HSO regulars. Heading towards Latour. Back to the left. And then turning right onto Pont. This is where David had trouble before. He does not have some this time. Under the bridge they go. And you can see Jason Whitehead in the background there. Or no, wait, that's not Jason Whitehead. That is Hackman. Hackman is following this group in 7th place. Juha in 6th.
Meanwhile, your friend Victor Alcácer is actually catching up with Gerard Rion. Not yet in striking distance, but that's again another battle to watch later.
Oh, that's true. He is. That martini is working very well for Victor.
Oh, someone spun. Who's that? Jason Whited. Just in front of those boats that are coming now. So he has lost a bit of ground to them.
Oh yes, he just spun coming onto the Mistral straight. So that's the second spin for him in this race.
Victor's already in Gerard Rion's slipstream.
My goodness, yes. So this is a battle for 9th place. Looking out from the front of Gerard's car as Victor is looking on the inside. Oh, Gerard swings wide on the exit there, which is probably the correct line anyway, but...
And Adam Hackman just overtook Juha, boss.
Yes, I spun in the S's. Was trying to catch David, but that didn't work.
There, oh yes, there is the spin by Juha. And a lot of these spins are happening on corner exit, it appears. But
Yeah, and it seems to me that these cars, if you're running 95%, you can lap all day long. But if you're going for that remaining 5%, well, then you certainly are in a big risk of spinning. And we
oh
have
my
seen
goodness!
that many times.
It appears that Michael Griffiths has lost his front wing. Some other incident. David Sabre putting a lap on him. Oh, David Sabre going into the dirt now. That's going to slow him down in his pursuit of Cesarius Slapinski. Hackman is up to 6th. Juha is in 7th, but right with him, so we could see more battles here in a second.
So Juha's trying to get his 6th position back from Adam Hackman.
Up over the curbs, heading back to the left. He definitely has more speed than Hackman, that's for sure. It's just a matter of sizing him up and setting him up at the right point. Maybe he could use the awkward position of Griffith's car to his
They're coming
advantage.
up to a slow car now.
Yes. Coming off the corner. Excellent exit by Juha there. He's right in the toe of Hackman now. Michael doesn't want to be a part of this. Gets out of the way. I'm curious as to why Michael didn't go for the pits that time.
Yes, exactly. That's what I was thinking.
Maybe from his point of view, he can't see that he's missing the wing. Onto Mistral again. Hackman's car seems to be much better under control than other people's. Maybe he's running more wing. You can see there that how close Juha actually is from the long shot. Oh, he's going to look up the inside maybe here. And he's got him, at least for the moment. Juha back up to 6th place.
Nice pass there.
Yeah, he gets the overlap there. Hackman tucks inside. You can see how hard he's having to work to keep that car underneath him. It's definitely trimmed out. Meanwhile, Victor Alcácer is still right with Gerard Rion, so this battle is not over yet. Oh, Victor misses a shift there. He doesn't want to do that too many times. That's Griffiths running off the course, I believe, maybe deciding that he's done for this race.
No, I think he was making room for a lapping car.
Or maybe he was.
Because of the missing front wing, he could not...
Didn't have any bite.
Going into the pits, which is weird because there's more than half the race.
Yeah, it's not like he's only got a few to go.
Yeah, but he's the last in the race. There's no reason for him to stay out in the track when he could go for repairs.
Yeah, at the very most, he can just make his time a little bit more enjoyable. Yeah, he's still driving without that front wing. It's incredible to me. Meanwhile, this in front of this group, Rion and Victor Alcácer, they're getting closer and closer to Jason Whitehead. The fact that he spun aided that situation. And Hackman most definitely has been dispensed with by Juha Boss. Saber is 5th. Shlapinski 4th. 3rd, Ray Radal. 2nd, Grant Radal. And 1st, of course, is David Yunt. In other news, water is wet and dust is dry.
Yunt is coming now to lap Michael Griffiths. And
Michael gets way out of the way.
Yeah, Michael is going slower, but since he's really, I mean, he is in control of the car, obviously, and he's not hampering the race, so we're not calling him forced into the pits for repairs. At least not now, because he's obviously in control of the car. And this is, well, with so few cars on track, he's not really hampering the racing.
Chapman is the last car running in 11th. Well, the last car running is Gilles Lalonde, actually, in 12th. And then 13th is the last car running to Michael Griffiths. Chapman is about to be put a lap down by our leader. Chapman must have had a spin at some point because he was right with Althakar before.
And Juha has a very quick car behind. I'm not sure.
That's still Hackman.
No, it's not. It's car number 22.
Yeah, it's Hackman.
Okay, I was mistaken him with...
But you're a bit too quick saying on dispense with him because he's still there.
Yeah,
commentator's curse.
Right behind you and back with a vengeance, as they used to say.
Hackman, of course, coming off a pole position last week in the IndyCar race. I believe that was his.
Yes,
I believe that was his.
At Nazareth.
I believe that was his first HSO pole, and he also he finished 5th in that race. Had a good result. All right, David Saber is definitely starting to close on Cesarius. It's just a matter of, is there enough time left? There are 9, or actually 10 laps to go now. Coming up to the line this time.
Yes, David was quicker in this track. And when Cesarius overtook him before, that was because of his spin. So it wouldn't surprise me much that he's able to reel in again. But
so it's really a question
so many times, getting there is one thing, overtaking will be a very different one.
So the first 3 cars are running very much alone. Best battle on the track is for 4th right now, if you can even call it a battle. Hackman still shadowing Juha, but not really in a position to do much about it at the moment. Whitehead is 8th. 9th is Rion. 10th is Victor Alcazar. Chapman 11th. Gilles Lalonde in 12th. So he was able to get unhung from the... he was like sitting on a berm, like I believe after the entrance to Mistral Strait, so... And Michael Griffiths soldiering on with no front wing, which strikes me as very odd, but you know what? To each his own. Yes, Saber is definitely closing. No question about it. Look. Oh, David just bounced off the guardrail there in the little twisty section between the Mistral Strait and the Pit Straight. Cesarius is definitely struggling with his car now. As they entered the Mistral Strait, the back end was coming around quite a lot. Heading into the Sing bend. Now into Busey. Oh, good. Look at the closure rate. My goodness. David really closes on Lipinski and Busey before they get to the section that really tightens up. The question is, can he translate that in? Oh, my goodness. Lipinski really getting sideways there. So David's catching him a lot simply by the fact that Lipinski's struggling with his car. At least that's what it appears like from this vantage point. Eight laps to go now. Oh, David had an excellent exit onto the Mistral there, and now he might have a shot at Lipinski. Oh, Lipinski just missed a shift. So he could be ripe for the picking when they get down to Busey. Let's see what happens here. David definitely has a roll on him. And if he plays his cards right, he might be able to get by in a couple corners here.
And it's Groundhog Day for David again.
Yep. So there just was, it was kind of an awkward pinch point there. Oh, and Lipinski gets the back end all the way sideways. My goodness. So I think it's a question of maybe the tires are starting to go away on Lipinski's car, plus low wing.
Yeah, because when you have lower wing and you are sliding constantly, then obviously you're keeping the tires more of a beating.
Oh, man. Lipinski definitely...
That's nearly drifting.
Yes. Not nearly, it was. And here comes Juha. He's still...
Someone's spun there. That's Mick Chapman.
Uh-oh.
He's back on track again. Fortunately, no damage.
David Sabre misses a shift of his own as they come down the straight.
Bit of a relief for Cesarius now.
Yeah, that took some of the starch out of David's attack for the moment. My goodness, David really working that heel end for all it's worth.
And I can imagine that we will hear some brewing and banging around in the garages between races for this both. None of them will be satisfied with the wing settings that they are using on this race.
Yeah, I think some people are going to be trying to find ways of making the cars more stable with a low wing, or alternately faster with a higher wing. Oh boy, here comes Sabre. I mean, one way of doing that would be to put toe in on the back of the car. But then, of course, you're limiting your maneuverability a little bit. Oh,
David's trying all the tricks in the back there, trying to advance the corner entry exit. That's hard. Like I said, if you are not able to overtake here on the straights, it's going to be too hard in the twisted section because the cars are constantly from side to side. There's no time to really put your car side by side with the other one and gain the position.
Yeah, he's definitely, maybe his tires have been cooked a little bit by these last two attempts at Lipinski because he's dropped off a bit. I think he looks a lot closer in this foreshortened shot than he actually is. And Lipinski looks like he's driving a little bit more with the car underneath him than he was a few laps ago, so maybe he's...
Yeah, that small distance, that minor gap that he found allows him, well, gives him enough room to be able to drive more in a controlled manner. But now David's again
Right
there
with him.
in his tail. Yeah, but a bit frustrated, I guess, because he's really unable to be side by side. What he really needs is to do things right here, a good exit, but look what happens. I mean, because Cesarius is changing direction constantly on these S's, obviously that's his line, he's hampering David's exit from the corner, and David can't get enough of a momentum here for the straight.
He's closer this time. And this is the part where Ślepinski seems very uncomfortable. Especially right here. Yeah, you see the closure rate, my goodness. And it catches David by surprise every now and then, I think.
Yeah, but the worst part is that it kills David's momentum.
It does, yeah.
It's obvious that David is much quicker in this section, but if you can't put your car ahead, then you're blocked completely.
So 4 laps to go this time. By as David swings out. It looks like he's going to get alongside him now. My goodness, look at this. Drag race down the main straight.
But look at the top speed in Cesarius' car. It's amazing.
He just manages to hold him off. My goodness, that was probably the best chance that David's had yet.
Yep.
I know it is. But
exactly what I was thinking. David must be right now pulling his hairs.
And it's status quo up top. 1, 2, 3 is still Yunt and the Ridal family. And Cesarius is doing an excellent job fending off the attacks of David Saber. Oh, David's right with him again, tucked underneath. But again, you're quite correct. His momentum is killed by the presence of Ślepinski's car. God, right with him. Firestones on the rear firestones on Ślepinski's car must be melting by now. Now into Pont. This is where he got alongside him before. David's exit is not as good this time. Up under the curb.
Yeah, but even if it were better, we have seen that Cesarius is able to hold his own on the straight. So good move here, but David. But again, the corners are so tight together that it's impossible.
And you've got nothing helping you here in terms of banking or camber either. That's the other thing about it's very flat here in terms of, I mean, there are elevation changes, but they're minor. And it's very, you don't have any kind of banking to help you here, so you're just relying on...
Yeah, here is David's chance.
Oh, yeah,
go for this double head.
Oh, but it looked like there might have been contact there.
Yeah, there has been slight
briefly.
bit. But yeah, like I said, must be very frustrating for David. But Cesarius is doing a master drive.
Cesarius is earning this 4th place with every lap.
He's being very clean, and he is holding his position with real racecraft here.
Good exit from David that time, but to your point, there goes Cesarius. He's rocketing away. If David happens to get by Cesarius, I would suspect that we'd see him just take off after a few corners.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Oh, this is his big chance right here. Cesarius got loose. Here's a big chance for David. If he doesn't miss a shift, he might have an excellent shot of doing a dive on the inside of Busse, if not sooner.
Yeah,
definitely has a roll
not
now.
Enough top speed here for David.
No,
but,
not.
But in this corner and the next one, he's much quicker than Cesarius. So if
he
he's
closes
able to stay on the inside, he might gain the position.
He closes like crazy in this corner here. He's gonna have to watch out because the closure rate just jumps really high. There it is. David once again is bottled up because of the awkward nature of that corner.
That was very good car control by David, because he had to lose a lot of speed while the car was already sideways.
Oh, goodness! Oh man, well, that probably is the end of that
got out
battle.
of shape, but that was a very good move by David. It almost worked there.
Well, white flag is out now for our leader, David Yund, who's made just another cakewalk of it. Grant put up an excellent fight early on, but just didn't have the ability to stay with David. Maybe that'll change in the next race. Maybe he'll be able to make some adjustments. But in the end, the gap looks like it's going to be around 10 seconds. So here comes David off of the final corner. Looks ahead to the checkered flag. And there it is. David Yund has won the first race of the evening at Paul Ricard. Second place, Grant Ridal, and he's actually just overlapping Juha Rion. He takes second there. Third is going to be Ray Ridal.
Oh, and David just moved to the outside. Great move there.
Oh my goodness! So this isn't over yet.
He won't be able to make it stick.
We'll see.
We'll see, because that...
Oh no! Oh, big spin right in front of these two. And somehow they keep it together. My goodness, that was Gilles Lalonde spinning around. What an exciting way to finish the race. But it looks like Slipinski's going to come home in fourth, just behind Ray Ridal. My goodness, yeah, there's not a chance here. But that was rather unexpected. As they come to the line, Juha is sixth, coming to the line now. And Hackman appears to be finishing in seventh place. Good solid drive from him. Juha Rion's already in the pits. He was 8th. 9th was Jason Whited. 10th, Victor Alcazar. 11th, Mick Chapman. Those were, and 12th, Gilles Lalonde. 13th, with no front wing, Michael Griffiths. 14th and retired, Matus Mall. 15th and retired, Dave Miller. 16th, Bruno Chacon. 17th, Alberto Aquino. And there is your winner, taking a victory lap, David Yund. So another race, another 20 points for Mr. Yund. So we're going to take a probably about a 20-minute break or so, I would think, while we get ready for race number 2, separate qualifying session. And we'll be right back in a little bit, so stay with us.
It's a 15-minute practice.
What about qualifying?
20 minutes.
So it means 35 minutes?
Well, practice qualifying starts in 15 minutes, and the race starts 15 plus 20 plus starts in 40 minutes.
Oh, goodness. All right. Well, in that case, we'll see you back here in quite a while. We'll keep the broadcast rolling in the meantime, but we'll see you back here in a bit.
You know me. I'm the Griffin on all the Vauxhalls, the beautiful Vauxhalls. Like this new limited edition Ventura, the VIP for very important people like me. This special Victor, loaded with practical things for practical people like me. It's going to be a beautiful summer. Beavers will abound. Estates will bloom like flowers. And it's all going to happen at your Vauxhall dealers. Visit him, you really must. Have a beautiful summer in a beautiful Vauxhall.
If you open the door of this big new 1973 car, you won't find anything really new. You'll find big contoured bucket seats, but that's not new. You'll find a big padded sculptured dash, a sporty steering wheel, but you've seen all this before. And every big car comes with a big curved windshield these days. It gives you a great view of the world, but it's not new. Plenty of legroom, nice but not new. And there's nothing new about finding all these big things under one big roof. What is new is finding all these big things under one little roof. Introducing the 73 Super Beetle. It's so completely changed and comfortable inside, you won't know it's a Volkswagen until you're outside.
Welcome back. About 1 minute and 15 seconds left in qualifying session number 2. So, gentlemen, not much time to go in qualifying. We're watching Dave Miller right now. What do you think's going to be happening going into this next race? We talked about banging the rear wings flatter to get more speed, or the other way to get more grip. What else?
Welcome back.
Well, it appears that both of our color commentators are still out to lunch. Oh no, there's Juha.
Well, I'm qualifying, so I can't be out to lunch.
So we were talking about the difference between this race to the previous one. What changes do you think people will make apart from wing adjustments?
Well, exactly the change they will make. I've done the same. I've removed wing. I've tried to make sure it's still corners. I think I'm sort of there. Not sure if this will actually work in the race because it's quite
And hopefully they
difficult.
will tone down the aggressiveness.
Yeah. Well, as James Gardner might say, we're sure as hell going to find out.
indeed. For Little Al, he told me he just wants a bit more of luck, not to get involved in the shunts.
So we're coming to the finish line here. It looks like David Yunt is going to be on pole once again. Grant Riddall in second. Little Al's going to be third, it appears. David Saber fourth. Ray Riddall fifth. Cesarius in sixth. Jason White in seventh. Juha eighth. Victor Alsaker ninth. Dave Miller 10th. Alcathar, sorry. 10th is Dave Miller. 11th, Adam Hackman. 12th, Brian Janik. So Brian's able to show up here for the second race. Girarion 13th. Gilles Lalonde 14th. Mick Chapman 15th. Michael Griffith 16th. Matt Small 17th. And Bruno Chacon, who has not turned a lap yet, is 18th. As we are going to the warm-up session right meow.
It's weird because we have still 18 cars, but Brian Janik was not here in the previous race.
Yes.
So who has dropped?
No, we had 17 in the previous race.
Okay.
So we've actually added one. So nobody's left. It's just Brian's arrived. So yeah, it's going to be those people who are flattening their wings more to get more speed on that straight. They're going to find it a bit more difficult in the twisty sections. So it could mean a much more hair-raising race. We'll see.
I think everybody will have learned from the experience. So it should be a better race.
Well, we'll see. Got about 4 minutes and 37 seconds to go until race number 2. Just a reminder of what's coming up at HSO this week and next Sunday. On Wednesday, we have round 6 of 8 of the 1995 STW series, and that's at Salzburg Ring. Should provide some interesting action. It's Wednesday, November 20th, and then next Sunday, the 24th of November, it's the Champion Spark Plug 300K from Laguna Seca, California, the 14th round out of 15 for the kart series. That should be a fun race. Is it going to be you or Little Al driving in that race?
Theoretically, it should be Little Al because he prefers the road courses, but I'm not sure because he's entering now exam weeks at school, and well, he was. Yeah.
Maybe Juan can drive the car.
Pressure. So in that case, I like Laguna Seca. It's just that I'm awfully slow at road courses.
How about you let Juan drive the car?
No. He already has tried driving, but he isn't yet at that level, and he's not as interested as Little Al.
Okay, fair enough.
He'd be more interested in endurance racing because so far his favorite track and mod is the historic GT cars at Targa Florio.
Oh, I see. And in that era, he can probably drive with his smoking jacket, right?
Probably.
All right. So 2 minutes to go. We'll see if Grant can get a better start this time than he did in the first race. Maybe get more of a jump on David than previously. There's Brian Janik on our screen. He's joining us for this race.
In all the racing that you have mentioned before that it's upcoming here at HSO is not the only thing that we will be offering, as we will soon be announcing a new open race at International Sim Racing Organization.
Oh, that's right.
For
Yes.
December the 1st. But
Yes.
that will be revealed very soon.
Yeah, so keep an eye on the ISO forum for that.
Do we have a trivia question today?
No. I ran out of meaningful questions for F3.
Then we can make an improvisation with one, for example. Since we are racing here at Paul Ricard, we could ask our audience what they think about where that Paul Ricard name comes.
Well,
Could it be A, a famous French racing driver, B, a famous French industrial, or C, a famous local politician?
Well, I know the answer, so I won't chime in.
You do?
I
We
already
can say it later.
I already know that answer.
We're about to go racing Paul Ricard again.
All right, 30 laps once again. And after this race, there'll be just 2 to go. One at Monaco and one at Brands Hatch. Probably in another week or so. All right, so
Is everybody on the grid?
it appears we got 18 cars. And off we go on the parade lap. On the pole, David Yunt. First of the Alpines. In second, Grant Riddall, Brian Henton Racing. Third, Alberto Aquino in the second of the Alpines. Fourth, David Saber, Chris Andrews Racing. Fifth, Ray Riddall. And another march, one that has South America on the cockpits around. Sixth, Cesarius Lipinski, also in a march. Seventh, Jason Whiten in the first of the Martini cars. Eighth, Juha Boss, Meeson Racing. Ninth, Victor Alcathar, BP France in a Martini. 10th, Dave Miller, AB3 Racing Developments. 11th, Adam Hackman, Peter Bloor Racing, also a march. 12th, Brian Janik in the second of the Martini cars. 13th, Gerard Rion, P&M Racing Preparations March. 14th, Gilles Lalonde, the HB Alarm System, I believe that's an Ensign. 15th is Mick Chapman in the Dart Racing GRD. 16th, Michael Griffiths. Hopefully he can keep his nose on the car this time. Team Kent Messenger March. 17th, Matto Small, Raystand Racing. And rounding out the field, Bruno Chacon, Carlson's Clister Racing team.
We will see what happens now at the start, because considering the fight that we have seen between David Sabre and Cesarius Lapinski, if Grant is able to put his car in front of David Junt, he could really make the race a hell for him.
Yeah, bottleneck city.
Yeah, because this is something that snowballs very quickly. You can't get away because you have a car in front, and then the other cars are catching up with you, they start attacking you, you suddenly lose another position, and it all becomes a mess.
Oh goodness, Grant is finding himself in an Alpine sandwich on the grid here.
Yep.
And he's got Sabre and Ray Riddall right behind him. 3-2-3-2-3 format for the start here, which is typical of Paul Ricard of the era. In fact, the F1 car started in this formation in 1973 as well.
It puts more cars close to the front, obviously.
Looks like Michael Griffiths is having some difficulty getting into his grid slot here. We'll see if the cars are released for a start. I don't know, this is looking a bit weird. Revs are still... Oh, well, the game just put him where he's supposed to be. Okay,
yeah,
that works.
When the countdown stops, you are teletransported to the...
And the race is underway!
And
another great getaway, but look at this, Great Riddall going through into the lead, and Little Al challenging David Yunt for second place as they go into the twisty pits leading onto the Mistral Straight. Grant Riddall's in the lead, David Yunt is in second, Little Al is in third, Ray Riddall in fourth. As they head down the Mistral Straight for the first time in race number 2, Grant Riddall is taking defending action, trying to shake the slipstream, but I think he's going to... My goodness, this is going to be really, really interesting. Into the sweeping turn, David Yunt tucking right up behind. That was a fantastic start by Grant Riddall. He did exactly what he needed to do to stay ahead of David Yunt into the first turn.
Yeah, and David is going to be very cautious now. He doesn't need to be aggressive at all. So what he's likely going to do is see if he can follow Grant and they get away from the following cars. And then he might try to overtake when the situation suits him better.
Watching from...
I think he had more top speed there on the straight, but this is the first lap on cold tires and he was certainly not going to risk it. But we'll see in the next 2 or 3 laps.
Here they come off the turn. Grant Riddall in the lead. Oh my goodness, very close quarters with David Sabre and Jason Whitehead. Lots of close racing towards the back as Michael Griffiths goes on to the outside of the Pont turn exit. Little Al is holding his own against Ray Riddall, but he's got a decent view of what's happening ahead of him between David Yunt and Grant Riddall. Grant Riddall pulls out a little bit of a gap to start with. Maybe your supposition is correct. David Yunt may know that he's got something in hand.
And there's Cesarius and Juha both side by side. Cesarius with his
oh my goodness, yes,
low-wind rocket, but it seems that Juha has also learned the lesson and...
Yes, Juha holds a position on the outside. Oh, look at this! Here's
yes,
David Sabre coming up the inside.
Cesarius missed there the corner entry and he immediately lost the position to David Sabre.
And here comes Dave Miller getting a bit loose on the inside of,
someone's
I believe,
out on the sand. That's Gerard Rion.
My goodness.
Probably
so
lots of air on the steer, but...
Lots of great dicing going on back here.
And on warm tires, Junt is getting antsy now. Makes me wonder a bit because there's no need for it. They are both opening a bit of a gap with the following cars, so there isn't really any need for that, but...
Coming off the turn. Yeah, tires are definitely warm now. Yunt staying in the toe of Grant. Oh my goodness! Schlapinski has spun out. You saw it just in the top corner of your picture. Looks like there's a bunch of craziness going on. Yeah, several cars spun there.
Fortunately, all seem to have recovered.
Let's have a look at the replay here.
Oh, and that's David Saber in the sand.
Oh my goodness.
Pushed out of the corner and is now on dirt tires when trying to follow Juha Boss.
Oh my goodness. Dave Miller was very lucky to not not hit. My goodness. Coming out of the last turn again, Grant Riddall still leading. David Young in second. Little Al is in third. Ray Riddall is in fourth.
There between Gerard Rion and Jason Whited. They're in the back, they both joking for positions, and as we had wished, it seems that everybody is now more confident on the cars and has learned a bit more where and what to do, and well, it's fortunate that there are still the 18 cars on track. Everybody seems to be both driving well and enjoying himself.
Here we're riding with Dave Miller in 7th place as he shadows David Saber. Looks like he's got a little bit of a toe off of him, but like you said, everyone's probably going to be a bit more judicious.
Grant holding on very well on David Junt, and beautiful how he is drifting the car on the double apex corner.
Oh man, this could be the opportunity that Miller's looking for, because David Saber just had a very loose moment. But I think it was a similar situation to what David was experiencing with Cesarius last race. He just got bottled up behind the car.
It seems to me that David has also lowered his wing after all the frustration he has endured on the previous race. But now, obviously, he's struggling a bit to get used.
He's definitely struggling, because coming off of that turn, you could see how he was struggling for grip. So Miller definitely looking to make an overtake here at some point. It's just a matter of when. Up front, it's still the same. Grant Riddall, David Yunt, Alberto Aquino, and Ray Riddall. Here we have a long view looking at Juha in 5th place, followed by David Saber and Dave Miller, and then you have Janik being followed by Adam Hackman, Mick Chapman rounding out the top 10.
Beautiful to see the small little cars going sideways there. Oh, that was like a coordinated ballet. David Saberspoon.
Oh, Dave Miller just makes it by.
Yeah.
Oh, but look at this. David Saber back in the end, outside of that corner.
Juha Boss also was there on the sand and has lost several positions.
Oh, my goodness.
He seems to have been able to get back to track.
4 places and about to lose the 5th one to Cesarius.
Oh, shoot. So, look at this. Dave Saber is now up alongside. Looks like he could take away the position again from David Miller as they're coming into the first turn again. Oh, goodness. David turns down on Saber there. I don't think he knew he was there. A little bit of contact, but no worse for wear. And this is causing Janik and Hackman to close in. So this is a 4-car battle now.
David exit out of the turn, David Saber, but still his car seems to struggle a bit in terms of top speed. Bit by bit he goes there, and he has the inside of the turn.
Goodness! Oh man, guys, be careful, please.
That Dave Miller didn't see him.
Guys, be careful.
That's weird.
Yeah, this. Oh, and now it looks like Brian Janik might get by Dave Miller as well. There he goes. Yes, he gets the overlap, and now. Almost contact there again, and now. So Dave Miller has dropped 2 positions here very quickly after he had. My goodness.
I think Cesarius may have disconnected.
He
disappeared in the middle of the turn.
That's too bad. Too bad for Cesarius.
Yeah, there he is. He's gone.
That's too bad. So yes, Miller is now on the attack. versus Jason, or I'm sorry, not Jason Whited, that's Janik as they come into the first few turns. Remember that Janik was not in the first race, so he doesn't have the benefit of the experience that everybody else has. That could be a problem. On the other hand, maybe not. Oh, goodness! Dave almost loses it coming onto Mistral.
That curb.
That curb is evil there. And that gave a little bit of breathing room for Janik. Coming down the Mistral straight.
And Ray seems to have been able to overtake Little Al.
Yes, he has. Ray Riddell has overtaken Little Al. That probably happened a while ago. But that's Ray's experience, I think, paying off. Meanwhile, David Yunt still continues to battle, well, not really battle, but just hold station, more or less, behind Grant Riddell. I think you're right.
Riddell lost the car a bit and slowed in the corner, and Ray Riddell was able to get by.
I think you're right about what's going on with David Yunt right now, Alberto. I think he's doing the smart thing, just holding station, saving his car, and he's going to have something for us at the end.
Yeah, if he sees that Grant is able to keep a comfortable lead, he won't be attacking him. He's a very smart driver, so he's not going to... I mean, he reminds me a bit of Niki Lauda and other greats that knew very well how to drive preserving the car. I mean, Niki Lauda's always said that for him racing was always a matter of going as slow as it was possible to win the race or to achieve the result that you wanted, but it was not as quick as, no, as slow as you could. That's to be more sympathetic with the mechanics. But
that probably was also an outgrowth of the fact that he was driving for Ferrari and realized that, especially in his era, the cars were fragile.
Yeah, the likely was a general attitude of him. He was obviously very engineer-minded, and he had lots of interest in the mechanical part. He didn't leave any even the smallest gap to lack or randomness.
Oh goodness! Miller appears to be under attack here from a bunch of cars. Let's see what's going on. Well, David Saber is in 5th. Yes, Miller just got overtaken by Janik again. And here comes Miller looking up the inside of Janik.
He seems to have a more powerful engine there.
He does. He has more power. Oh, goodness. Very close to contact there, but goes up to 6th place again.
Or maybe Janik, lacking the experience of the previous race, has put
that could also be it. Careful on that curb, guys. All right, heading down the long straight once again. This is a much closer race than previously. Yunt still holding station behind Grant. We're going to have to keep a close eye on these two, because they probably won't turn it on until about 10 laps to go, I would think.
And so far only one retirement, and that's unfortunate because of the disco.
Meanwhile, Juha is getting closer and closer to Mick Chapman, who's in 9th. Sweeping to the inside here. Looks like he might have a shot. No. Mick hangs on to the grip on the outside, but Juha's got a roll here. He might get him before the next turn. Let's see. Looks like he's got him. Yes. Juha moves up to 9th place. Nice move. Miller is looking at smoke right now, coming off the back of Saber's car, so modulating the throttle there.
And right behind them is also Matos Small being attacked by Michael Griffiths.
Yes.
Who is
Matos Small
much
runs
quicker
wide
with the front wing on.
So Ray and Alberto Aquino are having a pretty quiet race now. Yunt has backed off slightly. Had a bit of a moment braking there for Busse, but definitely taking it easy up front. Adam Hackman running in 8th place, just behind Brian Janik. Be interesting to see if he can mount a challenge. Hackman finished 7th in the last race. And they're both catching Miller at the same time here, it appears.
They've been quite close together for the whole of the race. It doesn't seem that any of them has like a huge advantage over the other and is able to open a gap, not as we saw before with some overtaking that once it happened the other car would storm into the horizon.
Saber seems to have his car in a bit better shape now that the tires are warm.
Oh, Jason White does quit?
Yeah, I saw a yellow flag briefly there. I wasn't sure what it was, but apparently that's what it was. Oh, Grant Riddall has a loose moment here. Maybe Yunt will take this as an opportunity. He definitely is right with him now. As they come down to the final corner of the circuit, Pomp going to the right. Grant is definitely having to push that car to stay ahead of David Yunt. He's not, I mean, David obviously is not driving at 10/10ths, more like 8 or 9. But it's still enough to put pressure on Grant. On to Mistral once again. It's funny how, I mean, this race is going a lot quicker than the last one, it appears. Although the lap count's the same, we're getting close to half distance now.
It is, yeah, with all the extra action.
With all the extra action, time flies. Now, these two do have a car that's lapped in front of them here, so not that this car would want to present a problem for either of them, but it may be just the awkward thing that could cause a change in position. We'll see. Oh, goodness! Oh, my goodness. Gerard slowed right down there. I that was a little... I think it caught both of them by surprise there.
Victor just spun coming up the Mistral straight.
Oh,
what
boy.
happened here to Little Al, who has quit? He has...
Oh, no.
I'm not sure what happened there. He slid out of the track and quit.
Yes, Little Al has disappeared from the chart. He is 10th, and it appears he's out of the race.
Yeah, not sure what happened there, but maybe he got damaged from touching the wall at some point.
Lots of tire smoke coming off of Grant's car now, more than there was in the previous lap. As they come onto the long straight. And you can see just in the background there the yellow car of Ray Riddall in 3rd place. He had passed Little Al earlier, and now he's got a long gap between himself and 4th place. 4th place being David Saber now. 5th, Dave Miller. 6th, Brian Janik. And 7th is Adam Hackman.
Yeah, that's the most contested position as of now.
Basically, yes. Most contested would be Janik's 6th place, but even then, Hackman's got a little bit of space to make up. Mata Small in 9th place. 10th is Michael Griffiths. And 11th, running off the track, Victor Alsaker, but he's about to be overtaken now by Juha, who is up to 11th now. And Chacon is closing in on Victor as well. Very quickly, I'm wondering if Victor has damage on his car because he's losing all kinds of time.
Oh, Victor just went to the gravel.
Okay.
Yeah, he lost momentum at the beginning of the straight, and that kills you already. So
He's probably also got schmutz all over his tires.
yep.
That too.
And it's the same as we've mentioned before at the front. Grant Riddall leading David. But this is the part of the track where Grant seems to have trouble. Puts up a lot of smoke. Yeah, the back end on his car is starting to step out a little bit, and David, by comparison, seems a lot less bothered through this particular section of the course. Left-hander coming up, that's tight. Grant's doing a good job, though, of keeping the car underneath him this lap. Both up onto the curbs in that one. They're definitely going for it at this point. Ray Riddall getting by Girarion here.
Victor and Bruno are also having an interesting fight there.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Bruno has just overtaken Victor, I believe. So we'll see if he can counterattack. That's a battle for 12th place.
Good exit there for Victor, but seems he doesn't have the top speed to be able to overtake on the straight, because even with that nice exit, he's completely stuck behind Bruno.
Alright, so we're at half distance now in the race. Grant Riddall leading David Yunt. Must be really nerve-wracking for Grant to think that David's just back there toying with him and waiting for the right time.
Yeah, though Grant, since he's very well aware of it, could maybe have some surprises under his sleeve. Who
Possibly.
is saying that he is doing the quickest that he can? Maybe he's still saving some seconds.
Maybe.
Well, some seconds and tenths, and his tires, because I don't see him sliding anywhere as much as when he was following David. And actually, David has now dropped a bit behind, and I think that the reason is that he doesn't want the aero understeer. He wants to preserve the tires much better, probably realizing what Grant is up to.
Yeah, he has given himself a bit of space. Yeah, he'll have more bite the more that he... Oh, goodness, Grant goes off the track there, but there's a generous amount of room offline there coming off the last corner. Well, last few laps of this race are probably going to be pretty interesting. Oh, goodness. Janik having a big loose moment going into the final corner. Manages to get it under control, but he was very lucky to get out of that one. Lost a lot of time in the process. Chapman is now being shadowed by Hackman quite well. We may see a battle for position before long for 7th place. And meanwhile, Mattis Mullen and Michael Griffiths are having a battle royale back here. Matos tucks in behind Michael Griffiths. And he's right with him. He might be able to attempt an overtake on Mistral.
And further behind, Victor Alcocer has not been able to overtake Bruno Chacon, and now he's got Gilles Lalonde on his tail, because as we said before, if you're not able to overtake, the biggest problem is not just that, but that other cars might catch up with you and start causing you problems. And once you have to be on the defensive, start defending, then you have even less chances of overtaking the car in front.
Yes, Gilles Lalonde following Victor Alcácer here, and we'll see if he can get by. Oh man, that curb saved Gilles Lalonde there. Victor having a very loose moment himself there, coming out of, I think that was the Bendor chicane. Now heading left into La Tour. Bruno is a guy, though, that, you know, if you're going to do battle with him, you're going to have to earn your way by. I think that's fair to say. He does not, he is one of the toughest guys to pass in the series, that's for sure. And Victor's staying right with him.
Good exit from the turn now, but probably missing top speed. Bruno not moving even half an inch sideways, letting him do his job, but probably knows well that there is not enough top speed there. Oh, he left him enough room, but oof. That was close for Victor.
Well, it's still very close at the front as well. David Yunt shadowing Grant perfectly. Great car control by David in the Alpine. Definitely the strength of the car in this circuit, I would think.
Yes, not the quickest car in the straight, but the twisty section is like tailor-made for the Alpine. Now Victor Alcocer has the problem of Gilles Lalonde.
Yep, he does indeed. Gilles is right behind him.
He has been cooking the tires for these last 2 laps, trying to overtake Bruno to no avail.
Oh goodness! So yeah, oh my goodness! Yeah, Gilles has a big roll here now, and he's going to get right alongside. Yep, there he goes, up to 13th place. Oh, then he misses a shift. So maybe Victor can get it back here at the end of the turn. You can see how hard they're having to work in these cars to keep them going straight. Just because they're not powerful doesn't mean they handle fantastic all the time.
No, we already mentioned it. Those are cars that driving them 95% is fine. I mean, you won't get into much trouble, but that remaining 5%, they are killer there.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Victor had an excellent exit off of that corner, but I think some of his momentum was killed by the curb there. Now they're coming down the straight, past the pit entrance, into the first 2 corners. This curb on the outside here has been catching a lot of people, but not Victor this time. Still the same up front. Grant leading. With David in second. Raymond all third. David Saber running all alone in 4th place. Janik is 5th. Miller 6th, and he is being closed on now by Adam Hackman, who has dispensed with Janik. I'm sorry, not Janik. Mick Chapman.
With Mick Chapman.
Yes, Mick Chapman.
And it would seem to me that David Junt is getting a bit antsy. In this twisty section, he knows that his car is quicker and is getting close to Grant, but well, we already talked about it before, and getting there is one thing, passing is another, and I'm not so sure of how much has David up his sleeve because in the previous situations I've seen them, in his attempts, he was never able to really put away inside of Grant so as to try to claim the position. He's probably trying to force an error. Grant is
Most
blocking
likely,
there
yes.
now. One move, but now will be staying there. This is what David probably is, waiting for here, trying to. But now it all depends on the exit of this turn. And Grant sees a quite good one. Which means that he's now there on the right side because he has only one move. Now he's going to make it, break the toe, and get himself in position for the next corner. There you go. He knows that Junt is quicker here, but he's
David
fending
taking a look on the outside there.
fending him off quite well.
A little bit of a slide there from David. Nothing crazy.
Yeah, if David wants to pass him, he will have to earn it.
Probably. I mean, yeah, I'm starting to think that definitely he's pushing the car and not leaving much in hand at the moment as they come onto final turn. He may be looking to go for it now. He's coming down the outside, looking to but there's not enough room there. So yeah, he's starting to show his hand now. So we're off to the races. Oh my goodness! I don't know
that comes from watching the mirrors while you are driving.
Yes, exactly. I don't know what message he got in the cockpit, but the scrutineers, if they saw that, would be like, "Hey, now, don't do that." There he is, bobbing, weaving about a little bit, trying to break that slipstream.
Matos Small just spawned in front of me.
Oh boy. That's too bad because Matos was having a good race. He was in the top 10.
What is anymore?
So you look at the long shot here, you can see, here's the yellow flag coming up here, so it appears
Oh
that
my god!
Oh! Yeah, oh my goodness, Matos Small was right in the way of those two cars. Oh shoot. I would have figured he would have been gone by then, but no. Well, good heads-up driving from both of these guys to avoid him. Although, and there's Gilles Long. He got through as well. But one of the benefits of a track like Paul Ricard is that it's very wide open spaces, and you can see plenty of distance ahead of you. So
yes, that's right. The track itself is quite narrow, but there are lots of open spaces around.
Yeah, the sight lines are very good. So Yunt staying right with, and Grant has a better entry and exit into turn 2 this time.
Matos has
Jan
retired.
has been trying in the straight line before, and I think this time he didn't attack much in the twisty section because he wanted a good exit.
He's got a great roll on Grant now. He might have a shot, but Grant's taking evasive action. We've got 7 laps to go in the race, including the one they're on right now. So about actually 6.5. So heading to Busset. This is great stuff. This is a 4-wheeled game of chess that these two are playing. Oh man, David has a very, very loose moment all of a sudden. That's very uncharacteristic for him too. And that just gave Grant a new lease on life. He just pulled out several car lengths on that. Did you see that?
Yeah, and that will be fine for him because this section that is coming here is what David was posing more of a danger for him. The last laps he has been putting the pressure on him in this twisty section.
Oh goodness, we got a great battle going on, by the way, between Chapman and Michael Griffiths. They're side by side. Heading into Busset. Looks like, oh my goodness, yeah, Chapman's trying to come up the outside of but doesn't get it done. Griffith stays in 8th place, and after his disastrous first race, that would be it's great to see Michael Griffiths doing better in this one. Mick Chapman now tucking up behind Michael Griffiths.
They're both good friends in real life, by the way.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Meanwhile, both Lalonde and Alcocer have retired in the last lap.
Goodness. Well, considering that they were close together, that makes me believe that there might have been some kind of contact, although we didn't see it, so that's speculation. Hackman is staying close to Brian Janik, but not close enough to really... I'm sorry,
Hang
Dave
on,
Miller.
because David Junt has got the lead.
Oh, boy. He does. Let's take a look at the replay. My goodness. So just after... Grant spun in his own. Well, not completely. He just got the car a bit sideways. He was entirely on his own. He didn't have anybody else near him, and that's unfortunate because after he just had an excellent reprieve handed to him. He hasn't lost a lot of time, but I think it's fair to say that the battle's probably over, as we've got about 4 laps to go now. Unless David makes a huge mistake, which... I don't know.
Yeah, it's quite unlikely in him.
Meanwhile, Hackman is now starting to close on Miller, so we may have a battle for 6th place before this race is over. Downshifting into the first turn. Snaking through the first few turns, then on to Mistral straight. Miller streaks away. Oh man, Grant is really pushing hard, trying to stay with David Young. The argument would be, what has he got to lose at this point? But
yeah, and also trying to put pressure on him is his best bet of David making an error.
That's the only card he has left to play, quite frankly. It's a shame, too, because that moment that Grant had was just... It's one of those, like, you either catch it or you don't. It was right on Oh, and he's having another moment now! Oh, no, Grant! Oh, stop. Oh, wait, yep. Okay, let's believe that was Chacon by.
Yes, his... The next car, that's his dad, Prix, is actually still many seconds behind.
Yeah,
so
far enough away that he can cruise home in second. But you can't fault Grant for trying. What else is he going to do? The only thing they remember is first place, and the championship's over. So, if I were him, I'd be putting my foot to the floor too. I was watching the finale of the Xfinity series, the feeder series for NASCAR, the feeder for the Cup Series last night, and some drivers were in a very similar situation. There were 4 people competing for the championship, and one guy drove his car so hard he was in 4th place or so, and scraped the wall with it. And the commentators were like, "Well, what's he got to lose? He's got to go for it. He doesn't want to leave anything on the table." So that's
just paint after all.
Yeah.
And Brian Riddle is going abnormally slow, I think, in the straight. No, he's speeding up now.
He's fine.
Okay.
And Hackman is not closing as fast as I thought he was on Miller. Maybe there'll be an opportunity before the end of the race, but I doubt it based on what I'm seeing right now. So 2 more races to go. in this series. After this one at Monte Carlo, and the next one at the last one at Brands, I believe. And that one pays double points. Not that it matters in the grand scheme. But this has been a fun series. Another great mod put together by David Saber. Great physics as well. So 2 laps to go now. David Yunt continuing on. Looks like the car is very solid. He's got a full straightaway now on Grant Riddall, thanks to those 2 spins that Grant had. But Grant's got nothing to be ashamed of. He left it all. He let it all hang out in order to stay where he was at. His car's a handful when it's not quite got all the grip it needs. So
it took some more time, but we also had again only 12 cars on track.
Yeah, it's true. We had the same exact attrition that we did before. Juha has climbed back into the top 10. He's closing in on Michael Griffiths, who is also not that far away from Mick Chapman. So perhaps there could be a battle here on the final lap.
Getting close, but not close enough.
And we're on the final lap now. Fastest lap was just sent by Grant Riddall, 1 minute 21.411. So he's trying right to the very end. Much like Ken Miles in the 66 Le Mans race.
Michael Griffith just spawned. No! Oh! Yeah, man.
My goodness.
Yeah, well, I've just taken 2 wheels off his car.
Oh,
Hang
no.
Hang on, because David.
Oh, my goodness, there's parts and pieces everywhere. Yeah, the leaders are coming through here, so they're going to have to be very careful. David Yunt's coming down to take the checkered flag now. And it appears that all is well where this is concerned. Yeah, the race is over. Grant is coming up on the cars now. The parts and pieces. Oh, yeah, he hits Juha's wing that's left in the circuit.
Now he can bring it back.
So Juha's motoring in spite of what happened. Grant is in second, coming down for the finish. Here comes Ray. Yeah, here's Grant is going to bring the car home in second place. His dad, Ray Riddall, is going to finish in third. Excellent result for him. Good pair of races. Brian Janik is going to be finishing in fourth place when all is said and done. That's very good considering he didn't drive in the first race. We do find that a lot of what's determining some of these races is that some people are not having time to practice during the week that they normally would have. Maybe it's the holidays closing in on us. But Sabre finishes in fifth. There's Gerard coming across in 11th place. Sixth is Dave Miller. So Dave had a good finish this one. Hackman repeats his performance from the previous race, finishes in 7th. Mick Chapman finishes in 8th place. There he is, crossing the line. 9th was Juha. 10th is going to be Bruno Chacon, so a points finish for him. Bruno staying true to his reputation of finishing. 11th is Gerard Rion, he already crossed the line. 12th is Griffiths. 13th and out of the race, Gilles Lalonde. 14th, Victor Alcacer. 15th, Matt DeSmall. 16th, Little Al. 17th, Jason Whitehead. So he retired very early on.
David Junt is parking the car there on top of the bridge.
Yep.
But happy with this.
Oh, yes. Yes, he's parked it on the bridge itself. Nicely done.
And in case someone was wondering about who Paul Ricard was, Jason?
He was an industrialist. He made wine.
He did. He made that famous Ricard vermouth, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, sorry. I thought he was the vermouth is what he made. I thought he was a winemaker.
Yeah, no, he did wines, kind of many different kind of liqueurs and vermouths and all that. And yeah, he did wine, but also he was well known for the Ricard vermouth.
Because the one that everybody knows is martini.
Yeah.
Vermouth.
Though, well, obviously outside the European Union, that's the case, and here inside as well is more popular. But I think, at least in Spain and France, obviously Ricard is a very, very well-known make.
All right, so
that was it.
Yep, I'm gonna have to take off very quickly here, but I will point out really quickly what's coming up at HSO one more time. On Wednesday, we have the 1995 STW series at Salzburg Ring. And then next Sunday, we have the Champion Spark Plug 300K at Laguna Seca. So thank you to both of you for joining me in this broadcast. Especially Juha, since he was driving, and that's very difficult to do.
Oh, you're welcome. Wasn't that difficult?
And also, have a look at what we have coming up at the ISO forum. Think you'll be in for a treat. This is Jason White saying so long from Paul Ricard.